Yo, what's going on, man? Today is January the 11th. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show. We only got 5 games on the board for today because the Clippers and the Hornets game got postponed, and the Lakers and the Spurs game got postponed because of the wildfires out in California. Again, just condolences. I'm still seeing the aftermath of all of that's going on, and it's tragic, man. It's a lot of stuff got burnt up out there. So only 5 games to jump into. Let's try to cash, man. As far as recap for myself, yesterday I had 2 official plays on the show. The Milwaukee Bucks did everything they could to not cover. I took a -3. They closed at -7. They won by 3. Brook Lopez can't hold on to the basketball to draw a foul, so that they had to shoot free throws. And Orlando gets the ball back. They shoot a game potential tying 3-pointer with Paulo Ventura in the right corner. So super frustrating there. He also missed a free throw right before that. That could have gave us an easy push. And they had I think a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, but that's the way sports betting been going right now for me, especially for me. And then I also took a small play on the under between the Philadelphia 76ers and the New Orleans Pelicans, and the game started off super slow. I knew neither team was going to be able to score, and we see Phoenix give up more points in that game than they've ever Philly give up more points in that game than I think they've given up on the full season. In any game on the season so far. So some aggression on the defensive end. Maybe I should have saw that one coming. I did not. I thought it would be. Then Zion gets ruled out. The total drops even lower, and still nobody wants to get a stop in the second half. I think it was all 40-point quarters from both teams, all 30-point quarters from both teams in the second half. But like I said, that's the way sports betting is going right now, man. It's kind of tragic. We'll get into a couple comments and jump into the 5 games that we have on the board for today. What up, Mark? Says it's going to be a great day. Putting it in the air early. I like it. Aaron says rise and grind with the hardest working man in Cappin. I try to be, man. But I'm telling you, last night, when you get those disappointing losses like last night, Bucks open at 3, I get the best of the number, and they push. It don't make you really want to handicap the games for the next one. It does not. Absolutely does not. Paulo Ventura comes back, looks like Superman last night. Shout out to the Bucks for not being able to stop him. But I try, man. I do try to work hard. What's up, Andrew? Says good morning. Hope your winter expedition to the library went smooth. We didn't even go to the library. I went out and grabbed some food yesterday, and that was it. He just crushed the NBA last night. Let's stay sharp. Hit a 2 4-leggers and a 4 out of 5 on straights. Derek White to ruin the sweep. Yeah, Derek White was a no-show at the crib yesterday. Not sure if he was still sick, but I think he finished with 3 points last night. What up? LJ says top of the morning, Chris. Jokic's money back at the crib yesterday. I watched him and Russell Westbrook get a triple-double. And the other thing about the handicap just yesterday in general was that all of the plays that I had on the short list cash. Well, not all of them, but most of them cash. I had a small play on Denver last night, minus the 14. That was a winner. They kind of got it together in the second half, specifically in the fourth quarter. And Pacers and Golden State to go under was another winner. Sacramento plus the points was a winner. Sacramento and Boston to go under. That number was 230, went all the way down to 226. Boston scored 97 points at home. Sacramento defense really stepped up in that spot. So that was another. All of those were winners, of course. But that's how it go, though. What up, Rain? Appreciate you for tapping in. Says, let's get it. I can't find a spot I like. All player props, and I can't disagree with you there. It's a tough card for today. All the lines have actually moved in the favor that I thought that they were going to go in, and I didn't put a single bet in. I was just a little heated, so I didn't put in any bets last night. What up, Justin? LJ says money in the bank. Good morning, Taylor. Appreciate you for tapping in. AC Locks in here. Says, Chris, how do I get in the Discord? You just shoot me an email at ChrisBeCappinn, 2 P's, 2 N's. I'll shoot you the link. That's at gmail.com. Good morning, Merle. What up, Hude? Sheed in here with us as well. What up, Julio? Appreciate you for tapping in. Yeah, same thing, Little Sports. Just shoot me an email. I'll send you guys the link to the Discord. Discord's growing. It's just a bunch of good vibes over there, man. People trying to cash in good information. It's free. So as long as you don't got bad vibes, you can stay in the club. But bad vibes, you're getting kicked out ASAP. But yeah, people in the Discord have been cashing. I see a lot of green slips all the time. They're talking about all sports all day long, all night long. I wake up to notifications, go to sleep with notifications. It's definitely a great community we're building over there. What up, Jay? Appreciate you for tapping in. All right, let's jump into it for today, man. We're gonna start as we always do with jaXon. I didn't even realize I wasn't even on the right page. We'll start with jaXon as we always do. All right, so simple prompt here. We was talking about the game last night in the Discord. I asked jaXon, Hawks or Rockets against the spread based on last 5 game stats. jaXon makes me a nice little table with both teams' ATS records, their offensive rating, their defensive rating, their pace rating, and then gets into the analysis. For people that are new, real quick, jaXon is a sports betting AI buddy or companion, whatever you want to call it. It has real-time insight on sides, totals, trends, injury news, player props. You can just type any prompt in and jaXon will spit out some information to save you a ton of time with your sports betting. And it's NBA, NFL, college football. jaXon was on Ohio State minus the 6 last night. That was a winner. Gave out a couple winners in NCAA. If you've been using it, it's a really cool sports betting tool that makes you money, which is the most important thing. 50% off promo code in the description of the video if you guys are interested, or just use code ChrisBeCappinn with 2 P's and 2 N's. All right, so getting into this, Rockets have gone 3-2 against the spread in their last 5 games. They've shown they've been able to cover more spreads more consistently. The Hawks, on the other hand, 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 games, struggling to meet expectations. Offensive and defensive ratings. The Rockets have a significantly better offensive rating, 119.74 compared to the Hawks at 110, indicating a more efficient offense. Defensively, the Hawks have been poor with a defensive rating of 123, while the Rockets are slightly better at 116.56. Pace. The Hawks play at a faster pace, 102 compared to the Rockets, 94. While this could lead to more scoring opportunities, it also exposes their defensive weaknesses, as evident by their higher defensive rating. Recent trends: the Rockets on a 3-game winning streak, including a recent 119-115 win over the Memphis Grizzlies, where Alfred Sengun dominated with 32 points and 14 boards. The Hawks have been struggling, losing their last game and failing to cover in all 5 of their most recent matchups. So then you got matchup context. The Rockets are 5-point favorites in this game, and in their recent form suggests they are better equipped to cover the spread. The Hawks' defensive struggles, allowing 120 points per game, ranked 20th in the NBA, make it difficult to trust them to keep the game close. So recommendation pick is Rockets minus the 5. The Rockets' superior offense, better recent ATS performances, and the Hawks' defensive struggle make the Houston Rockets the stronger pick to cover the spread. So jaXon likes Rockets in this game, and I would agree. As far as I forgot to mention this. Yesterday, jaXon liked Sacramento plus the point. So it was another winner yesterday in the NBA with jaXon if you just blindly tailing jaXon, or if you like Sacramento in that regard. So yeah, check jaXon out if you guys have not. I see people signing up for it. I get an email when people sign up. But yeah, continue to check jaXon out, man. Like I said, you whatever tier you sign up for, you get 50% off of using the code ChrisBeCappinn with 2 P's and 2 N's. So let's jump into that matchup. The line, I just updated the lines maybe 10 minutes before the show started. This line is now at 5.5. I do see it up to 6, and I agree with where it's going. We talked about this in the Discord last night. I think it was me, Joe the Gambler. It might have been some other guys. This was like right before I fell asleep last night. I'm looking into the matchup. We'll get into the injury report. The first thing that jumps out is no Jalen Johnson. I think Jacob said he got a -3 when this opened yesterday, and I do see that it opened at 3 in favor of the Atlanta Hawks, in favor of the Houston Rockets. And I agree with that. I look at the injury report. You got Tari Eason game time decision for the Houston Rockets. No Jabari Smith Jr. of course. Trae Young is probable. I'm thinking he's gonna play. And then you got Jalen Johnson's out. And that's enough, in my opinion, to not want to back the Atlanta Hawks. I put this in the Discord last night as well. If you look at we've been talking about this all season, but if you look at the Atlanta Hawks with and without Jalen Johnson, it's a significant difference. With him on the floor, their offensive rating is a 115. Defensive rating is a 112. So they're outscoring their opponents by about 3 points per 100 possessions. With Jalen Johnson off the floor, their offense is horrible. It drops from a 115 to a 108. And then their defense also gets worse. It goes from a 112 to a 119. So with him on the floor, they're getting outscored. With him on the floor, they're outscoring their opponents by about 3 points per 100 possessions. With him off the floor, they're losing by an average of 11 points per 100 possessions. You also got a terrible spot here for the Houston Rockets. They are, for the Atlanta Hawks. Their first game back home off a 6-game road trip. That's typically a flat spot. Only 1 day's rest. They went 2-4 on the road trip straight up, and only 1-5 against the spread in the road trip. Of course, they lost the last game to Phoenix. So now you got them traveling all the way back cross country. I do think it's a Rocket spot. This is an early matinee game. To me, that tends to lean itself more towards the under. But with Jalen Johnson not being there, Houston playing fast, we know Atlanta wants to play fast. I don't think I can get there with the total. It is moving up from 230.5 to 233.5 though. So money coming in on the over, money coming in on the Rockets, and I agree with the money coming in on the Rockets more so than the over. Houston has won 3 straight games. They've covered 7 of their last 10, and it's the last game of a 3-game road trip. They do got a quick rematch with the Memphis Grizzlies. I think in that next game is what I looked at. Player prop wise, real quick, let's go over to Outlier. And I'll tell you guys what I'm looking at here. It is, let's see. So this is Amin Thompson. I was looking at Amin. I'm not playing Amin. He doesn't have that great of a matchup, and he actually didn't go over against the Grizzlies. So could potentially bounce back. I see his prop coming down though, and this spread is moving to 6 now. So if you wanted the 5.5, probably want to get in while you can now because it is moving to 6. I think the Rockets are going to win the game now, and I think they'll cover the small number. The bigger the number gets, the more I don't like it, of course, though. So what I was looking at Trey in this game, specifically his assist prop, him to go under on his assists. So see Trey assists listed at 11.5. He's up and over the number 5 of the last 10 games on the full season, about 50%. You can filter this to home games if you want. He's up and over in 56%. So 9 of the 16 games, he's actually gone up and over the number. However, in my opinion, I'm looking at the defensive matchup here. You can see here the Houston Rockets, second best team in the NBA in limited assists. They do not give up a ton of assists per game. To the point guard position, they are actually number 1. This team, they do a really good job against the pick and roll. It leads to teams not being able to get a ton of assists. So I'm looking at Houston. They do a really great job in that department. I think they can kind of keep it going today. Trae Young is going to have higher usage, of course, without Jalen Johnson. I am expecting him to have the ball in his hands a lot, but that's the way that I will be looking here. Recent games, the Houston Rockets just played against the Memphis Grizzlies. They held Ja Morant to 3 assists. It's a game in here this season where James Harden had 2 assists. It's another game where James Harden had 7 assists. They held Tyrese Halliburton to 8 assists. And Luka also started the season. Luka had a game where he only had 2 assists. So Trae Young, 12 assists is a lot to get to, especially first game back home. You can see recently 9, 9, 9. He do got a 14 and a 20 assist game in here, so you don't like to see that. But 20 did come against the Jazz, and they are absolutely trash. And then he only had 7 against the Phoenix Suns. So strong lean towards the Houston Rockets to get the job done. Strong lean towards Trae Young to go under on his assist prop here. All right, so that's enough of that. Let's go back to comments and see what you guys are thinking about this one, and we will keep it pushing. Let's see. Good morning. That Dennis Schroeder cashed on his points, rebounds, and assists under with all the exclamation points. I'm glad you cashed it. I'm glad that you cashed it. Let's see. What up, Frankie says, I've arrived. We all survived the NBA last night. What up, Peasy? Says Knicks was awful. Yeah, they've been terrible, man. Let's see. What else y'all talking about in here? Tariq says, good morning, Chris. Decent day yesterday. Hoping for a good day today. Glad you've been cashing, Tariq. Glad you've been cashing, bro. Hustle with the Gram says, good morning, my boy. Let's get this cheese. Kevin says, Cam Whitmore over his 10.5. Let me know why you like Cam Whitmore here, Kevin. I feel like he's been at the bottom of the bench. I know he can get going. He can shake loose. I love Cam Whitmore's game, but feels like I saw some stuff with him, kind of just being, I guess I'll say, dissatisfied with his role on the team right now. It feels like Udoka's not giving him the minutes he want to play. He's not getting the minutes that he want to get. So let me know why you like him specifically in this one. Julio says, my Rockets in the over. H-Town laying the chalk minus the 5 for 77 figures. Yeah, that's the right side for sure. Philly is embarrassing, very upsetting. Yeah, Philly is a train wreck, man. They're a train wreck. Just to think they gave Paul George $1 trillion to come average 12.5 points, man. Boy. Mark says I'm aligned with the Jackson guy. Houston minus 4.5 for him. Got in a little earlier. DeAndre Hunter over his 17.5 points for Merrill. Amin over his 9.5 rebounds. So going back to the look. Okay. What up? Jacob got in super early with the -3. He likes Jalen Green over his points prop as well. Julio says, Chris, I told you Jalen Green been on a heater. You said against weak defenses, but then he put up 27 on Memphis. So here's the thing, Julio, because you're right. I always give people credit when they're right. You're right. I didn't think Memphis defense was going to be that bad. Boy, the Houston Rockets scored like 46 points in the first quarter in Memphis. I was like, wow. You can blame it on, Desmond Bane and Ja Morant first game back. I did not think the defense would look that bad, though, if I'm being honest. Rockets money line in the under. Yeah, I'm not fading anybody on the Rockets side. Not against this defense from the Atlanta Hawks, man. It's terrible. I'm not playing Jalen Green, but I wouldn't be fading. I would not be fading him here. Let's see. Brian says, good morning, Chris and community. Late to the show. Crazy day in Tarenza, I think is how you pronounce that, Los Angeles. I'm on the front line of the fire, but I wanted to check in and say hello. Good luck to everybody. Hey, man, stay safe out there, bro. Please stay safe out there. I didn't know you were even in Cali, Brian. Man. LJ says he likes Jalen Green over his PRA in general. Says had a triple-double last year in Atlanta. Okay. I could not talk you off, man. They're not playing really good defense at all. And I gave you guys the numbers without Jalen Green. Yeah. All right, let's keep it pushing. Next game. We got the Utah Jazz and the Phoenix Suns. Another matinee start time. This game starts at 5 p.m., 5:10 Eastern Standard Time, which is what, like, Phoenix is in the Western time zone, right? So this is a super early start time for them. And the same thing for the Utah Jazz as well. So injury report really quickly. We got Sensabaugh listed as game time decision. He did not play in that game against the Miami Heat the other day. He was out with an illness. Jordan Clarkson, John Collins, and Keontae George are already listed as out. Jiang is also now listed as questionable with a hand injury. He has been in the starting lineup for the team. So the Jazz, going to be extremely short-handed here, man. You got Collier in there with Sexton and Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler. They do not. I mean, the injury report is growing for this team. On the Phoenix Suns side, Royce O'Neal is listed as game time decision, but is more doubtful. He hasn't played in quite a while. I think it's been since December the 31st. So getting into the matchup here, you got a Phoenix Suns team that's owned the Utah Jazz. They've won 8 straight. They've covered 3 straight. While doing so, 2 have come this season. They're also 6-0 to the over in the last 6 head-to-head matchups between the two teams. And this total is coming down. It opened 228.5. It's down to 227.5 on most books right now. So you got Utah coming off 1 day's rest, back-to-back losses against the Atlanta Hawks and the Miami Heat at home, but they did cover both of those games. In fact, they've actually covered 8 of their last 10 games, have the Utah Jazz. This is the first leg of a back-to-back. They go back home tomorrow to host the Brooklyn Nets, and it's a 5th game in 8 nights for the Utah Jazz, a spot where I feel like they kind of run out of gas. I do feel like they run out of gas, the Utah Jazz, in this spot. Now, am I wanting to lay 11? Hell no. This line opened at 10.5. I see it all the way up to 12 right now. I don't want to get there with the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns coming off 1 day's rest. They did beat Atlanta by 8 and covered. They were laying 6 in that spot, and nobody wanted to lay the 6 with them. I know I didn't on Thursday. And this is the first leg of back-to-back for them as well. They got the Charlotte Hornets coming to town tomorrow in a quick revenge spot after losing to Charlotte last week. Also a 5th game in 8 nights. So these 5th game in 8 nights, I know I just said that these teams, typically go over when they play. The over is 6-0 in the last 6, but with both teams being with the Utah Jazz being compromised on the offensive end, and their offense actually has struggled. The Phoenix Suns can, prove that when they really want to lock in on the defensive end, they can. I think this is more of a defensive type game, man. I would be looking towards the under 227.5. Another thing that I've kind of been tracking, actually just started tracking yesterday, was how teams have been doing when they're playing fifth game in 8 nights. And so far, based on what I looked at, it's a lot of unders. So since Christmas, teams playing fifth game in 8 nights are going under about 60%. Well, right at 60% of the time, 30, 20, and 1 to the under. You got a lot of teams playing fifth game in 6 nights today. We did see some overs yesterday with the Pelicans. We saw the Nuggets game go over yesterday. The Magic game went over yesterday as well. So it's been kind of yesterday was more of an over game, but I'm thinking today we see under, especially with it being first leg of back-to-back for both teams. Real quick, let me do one more thing real quick, and then I'll go through the comments. The player prop I like in this game is probably going to be a pretty square one, but I mean, it's difficult not to look past Bradley Beal. He's coming off the bench, shooting the ball really, really well. He's played 3 games off the bench. He's gone up and over his 16 and a half in every single game. He got there against the team earlier when they played, so I would be looking towards Bradley Beal to go up and over his points prop in this game. Utah, I think, is going to give it up specifically to Bradley Beal. Devin Booker also has a really good matchup, and he is typically the guy that kills the Utah Jazz. But when they played earlier, Kevin Durant didn't even play in that game. So real quick, looking at Utah, Phoenix had a pretty high total in that last game against Atlanta. They did hold Atlanta down. They held Atlanta down, and Phoenix has been more of an under team at the crib than they've been on the road, of course, for whatever reason. We know that their offense can tend to struggle at times as well. Phoenix held Atlanta to 115. That game actually got a push at 238. Utah offensively scored 92 points against Miami. They did get to 121 against the Atlanta Hawks, but Atlanta was without Jalen Johnson. Only 105 in Orlando. So the offense has been kind of back and forth. They've been covering more so because I think just because they've been playing slow and they've been getting off to pretty good starts. And that's another way. I know I'm just kind of giving you guys I'm trying to just empty my thought process on the game. But the Utah Jazz have been really good to start games off. They actually jumped out on the Miami Heat, was winning that game 27-20 at the end of the first quarter. So they've been coming out with something early. Last 10 games, the Utah Jazz are 21-15 against the spread in the first quarter. Last 10 games, they've also been 7-3 against the spread in the first quarter. So thinking that they potentially could come out, keep this game close early would not surprise me at all. Utah is the way that I would look early in the game, 7-3 against the spread in the first quarter. The Phoenix Suns are 3-6-1 against the spread in the first quarter. So looking towards Utah early, first quarter, maybe in and out spot for them as well. Excuse me. And let's see. All right, so Utah is last 5 games, 14th in points scored. So the offense is about middle of the pack. Defensively, they're the 8th best defensive rated team, which is interesting. Phoenix is 16th in offensive rating and 24th in defensive rating. One of the reasons I can't lay this big of a number. Utah actually 3rd in opponent effective field goal percentage, 7th in opponent free throw rate. So keeping teams off the free throw line. They still struggle to get back and protect the hold on. No, this is Utah. Okay. So looking at Phoenix defensively, they kind of Jekyll and Hyde, man. Bunch of different games in here where they've been playing defense, they're not playing defense. It's really more so been their offense. I feel like it's been an addition for Bradley Beal coming off the bench recently. So Bradley Beal points, the under 227.5, and slight lean towards Utah in the first quarter would be my recommendations for this game. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Jalen Green is so underrated. I voted for him for the All-Star game. Yeah, he is, man. He absolutely is. Jazz a pass for Sheed. Jacob says pass. Jalen Green been cooking. That's a fact. What up, J man? Appreciate you for tapping in. Brem Bender in here with us as always. It's Let's Get Paid. Suns alternate spread -6 and under 228. And Booker over his points and assists. Plumlee over his boards. Julio can even remember. Appreciate you, my brother. Who's laying 11 with the Suns? D. Williams says, yeah, that's a crazy number, especially when the Utah is 8-2 against the spread. I think it's a game where, like, if you watch the Atlanta game, Atlanta actually jumped out on Phoenix early. Phoenix had to come from behind in that game. It wouldn't surprise me if Utah was able to do the same thing. These poor teams typically give a bunch of effort early. You see it with Brooklyn all the time. Brooklyn actually kept the game close with Denver yesterday. They scored like 33 points in the first quarter and then end up getting smoked, for the full game, before it all ends. So, it's a team that you've beaten, 9 straight times. Do we think the Phoenix Suns about to get up for the Utah Jazz? I would think Utah first quarter would be the way. And then Phoenix, the way the game ends is the way the game is. We see poor teams finish the game off terrible all the time. So, I'm not laying 11.5 with the Phoenix Suns. I'm in agreement with that. Hope Booker doesn't take the night off. Been balling the past 2 games, she says. I agree with that. Tariq says Suns about 5 is all I can lay with a max. Mark says Booker dishing the ball over on his assist, not a prop guy. I would need to look a little bit more into it. I feel like we know somebody gonna rack up a ton of assists. The Utah Jazz do give up, I think, the most assists in the NBA. It's been that way for past couple seasons. So I'm not sure who's doing the facilitating right now. Maybe I'll look a little bit deeper into that. But Bradley Beal points over 16.5, man. Just, I don't know. With him coming off the bench, if you've been paying attention, he gets in the second unit and he's looking to score. He's definitely looking to score. LJ says Utah's 1-10 straight up on the road versus the West. Suns should run the Jazz out the building, but Suns don't cover at home. So I'm taking Booker over 7.5 assists versus the Jazz. There you go, Mark. Taylor says Grayson Allen 3-point prop. He likes him over to hit 3 at +145 odds. Jazz allowed a 26 most 3-point attempts and 27, ranked 27th in the limit in points to above the break 3 versus teams 15th or worse in 3-pointers allowed. Allen is up and over in 8 of his last 10 games. So Grayson Allen 3-point prop, I could see that as well. Could definitely see that. Let's see. Talked about joining the Discord, so I'm not I can't pass it to you verbally, but just go back and you can get in if you listen. Let's see, what else y'all saying about this one? Justin says Chris, send Pitt -4 college basketball to your members. Okay. Justin like Pitt in basketball today. Julio says I'm on Pitt. Mark says I am on Pitt as well. So Pittsburgh seemed like to play today. Okay. Walker Kessler double-double. His rebounds have been going crazy. We talked about that in the last show. Let's see. Booker. Merrill says he's going to put the rebounds and the assists together for Devin Booker. What up, Dropping Dimes? My brother. Appreciate you for tapping in. Mark says that first half for the Houston Cougars are auto bet right now. What up, Lightbearer? If the Suns can beat a team without playing defense, they will probably take the night off defensively, D. Will says. I don't know, man. I feel like they're going to conserve some energy, though. I'm pretty sure they want to get up for the Charlotte Hornets tomorrow. Remember I said this first leg of a back-to-back, you just lost to Charlotte. You got to get that. You got to get right against Charlotte, man. Not sure what Zion probably just chilling, man. He probably like this season a waste. I get to the airport when I want to. I got suspended for a game. That's about it, man. That's about all I got for you. Zion said, man, I got bread. What y'all gonna do? Suspend me? They say, yeah, we're gonna suspend you. Yeah, I don't know, man. Let's go to the next one. We got Raptors and Pistons. This was a game that I actually liked. I actually like the Toronto Raptors in this spot. Plus the points, but it's come down a lot. It opened 6.5 for the Raptors. It's down to 4 now. I do see it getting pushed back up to 4.5. The total opened 230. I saw 229.5, but it says it opened 230.5, and it's about right where it is right now as well. This is a big fade spot here for the Pistons, in my opinion. Not that the Raptors are good at basketball, even though they have been playing a little bit better recently. So injury report for this one, we got a Toronto team that only has Abaji listed as, I think he's listed as questionable, listed as doubtful. He missed the game against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the last one. And then on the opposite side, we got Tim Hardaway Jr. listed as game time decision. Truly listed as questionable with a back injury. That could throw the rotation off even more, especially when you don't have Jaden Ivey out there. So I just didn't really like the spot here for Detroit. We talked about, Detroit in their last game against the Golden State Warriors and it being a 5th game in 7 nights. But this is not too much better of a spot here. It's 5th game in 8 nights for the Detroit Pistons. Also a 7th game in 11 nights. And on the season, totals are going under about 56% of the time when teams are playing their 7th game in 11 nights. It doesn't happen too frequently. Golden State did just in their 5-game winning streak. They are 8-2, however, straight up in their last 5 games. I think the books got this one short for a reason, man. I probably should have grabbed some 6.5, but I didn't. Don't really like it at 4.5 as much. We got a Toronto team that is coming off 1 day's rest. Also, their 3rd straight road game, 3rd game in 4 nights for them as well after playing back-to-back games against the Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. They've actually lost 4 in a row in 9 of their last 10 games. They did cover against Cleveland, losing that game by 6 when they were getting 13.5. It feels like they're starting to kind of figure it out and get it together over the last few games. I know Chris Boucher had a big game in the last one. Now you got, a pretty healthy squad with Quickly, Grady Dick, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Jakob Poeltl, Bruce Brown off the bench, Kelly Olynyk. I feel like they got enough to compete with Detroit in this spot. I said we was talking about this. Me and Wahoo was talking about this in the Discord last night. You just really need the Toronto Raptors to not turn the ball over. This is a team that turns the ball over a lot, which you would think that would improve. In my opinion, it would improve with Quickly being back. And them getting a little bit more healthier. Last 6 games, I feel like RJ Barrett has only played in 2. He's only been back from that illness for 2. I feel like this is a Toronto spot. I know, like I said, it's not the greatest as far as 3rd game in 4 nights, but I can't lay this. I can't lay 6.5 with the Detroit Pistons as a home favorite playing their 7th game in 11 nights. That's just something I don't want to do. We know that the Detroit Pistons don't cover as favorites either. This is a team that, even though they improved, they haven't really been covering as a favorite. They are 4-8 against the spread as a favorite this season. That's 33%. They covered against the Nets in their last game. They opened as a favorite against the Golden State Warriors as well, but they didn't cover that. Before covering against the Nets, they didn't cover against the Blazers at the crib. They were laying 6.5. This was last week. Against the Pistons, they were laying 8. I'm sorry, against the Hornets, they were laying 8. They won the game by 4. They did cover against the Magic, but didn't cover against the Jazz. This is way too many non-covers. As a home favorite this season, they've been a home favorite 7 times. They're 1-6 against the spread, covering 14.3% of the time. Blazers, Hornets, Jazz, Raptors, Bulls, Hawks, all non-covers. They're winning these games by point. Their point differential is a 0.3. So I couldn't quite get there with the Pistons laying points at the crib. It's not a spot that I want to be included on. I just look a little bit more towards the under, in my opinion. And the total did drop from 230.5 down to 229.5. Feels like it could be a little bit of fatigue on both sides. Let's see. Pistons money line. Cade over his points, rebounds, and assists. Cade has been bet on for sure. So if you like Detroit, maybe you just continuously bet on Cade. Maybe you just continuously bet on Cade. Another problem I was having with this game is that the Rockets, the Detroit Pistons, their weakness is typically been their 3-point defense. On the full season, they're allowing teams to shoot the 4th highest percentage from the 3-point line, and the Toronto Raptors don't shoot the 3 well. Another reason why I kind of like the game to go under. The Toronto Raptors want to shoot a bunch of mid-range shots and a bunch of shots at the rim and in the paint. Detroit's defense has been a little bit better there. They're actually the number 1 defensive rated team over the last 5 games are the Detroit Pistons. Toronto's offense has really struggled to score the ball as well. So, like I said, a little bit more towards the under, in my opinion, than the over is what I would be playing here. Under 229.5 would be my recommendation. What up, GLB Bet? Says, what's up, Chris and crew? I really cut back on betting this past week, but I'm liking this over. Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, I'm pretty sure he got some systems on it. I'll probably stay on the sideline. I mean, I hadn't betted anyway, but don't like that GLB Bet's like the over if I like the under. No, he probably got some strong systems on it. Ray says he got under 230.5. I know the Raptors got people back, but the Pistons been locking up bad teams defensively. And that's what I was kind of thinking, man. I don't like the matchup for the Raptors offense as much. So I was leaning under as well. Jacob likes quickly over his 15.5. He says, and under his 9.5 rebounds is money in this spot. So I'm guessing that's points. And then the next one is rebounds and assists. Julio says Detroit should win by 2 or 3 points, but close to 5, I'll pass. And that's how I feel. Me and Julio agree on this one. Total looking kind of, I don't know what that means. I could see an over 230, not that hard to do with Toronto on the other side. Jalen Duren over his 21 points plus rebounds for Merrill. He likes RJ to hit 2 threes. Scotty Barnes to go over his rebounds and assists. Jazz plus 11. Erica says they do not cover. The Suns don't, and I'm right there with you. Did not bet it, but I'm right there with you. Taylor likes Scotty up and over his 5.5 assists versus ranked teams in the top 10, limiting points in the paint. Scotty is over in 6 of the last 9 this season, averaging 6.1. Makes sense because Scotty is looking to attack the rim. Detroit would force him to kick out. That does make sense. I like that. I like that a lot, Taylor. I would agree with that. All right, let's see. You did miss the Jazz game. We talked about that one already, Christian, but I wonder if you're going back to your boy Walker Kessler up and over his rebounds. Ja versus Ann is up next, Erica. We're about to talk about that right now. Last game on the board. Well, second to last game on the board, and I got to speed up. Got to get ready to get up out of here. So we got the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves. Game will be played in Minnesota. Line open 1.5. Well, 1.5, and hasn't really moved a lot. It's still kind of sitting at well. Actually, it's moving to Minnesota 2 now. And the total did go up. It's open to 28.5. It went up to 231.5. Now it looked like it's coming back down to 231. Some 230.5s out there. Injury report real quick. We got the Memphis Grizzlies with Marcus Smart continuing being listed out. Cam Spencer is out. Vince Williams is out. Gigi Jackson, of course, is out. And then on the opposite side, just Rob Dillingham is out. So both of these teams are going to be pretty healthy. We do get a Memphis team that they had a couple guys out in their last game. I don't really want to try to give them a pass or anything because I put my money on them in the first half and they were getting smoked in that game against the Houston Rockets at home, which is weird, especially I don't know, man. I just kind of felt like they were going to get right in that spot. They didn't have any travel. But Ja Morant, it was his first game back after a while with the shoulder injury. He did shoot the ball pretty poorly. I think he was like 9 for 22. Didn't blame it on his shoulder at all. And Memphis, they really struggled to take care of the basketball. That's one of the things that if you like the Memphis Grizzlies, you do not like about them specifically in this matchup. Memphis on the full season, actually, it's crazy to think because their offense is so good. They're the 5th best offensive rated team, but they turned the ball over at the 4th highest rate in the NBA. I think they turned it over 20 times. It was 17 or 20 against the Houston Rockets in that last game. Last 5 games, they actually turned the ball over more than any other team in the NBA outside of one. So they turned the ball over at the 2nd highest rate over the last 5 games. They do got some advantages in this game. They are a really good offensive rebounding team. The Minnesota Timberwolves are not that great of a defensive rebounding team. They're actually giving up the 5th most offensive rebounds are the Minnesota Timberwolves over the last 5 games. So you don't like that as much if you do like the Timberwolves in this spot. The Grizzlies are a team that likes to score in the paint. They're number 1 in paint frequency on the full season. Last 5 games, they shoot it really, really well down there. 58.9% is 5th in the NBA over the last 5 games. The Minnesota Timberwolves defense in the paint has been kind of lackluster on the full season. 22nd in opponent frequency, 12th in opponent paint accuracy. So that's pretty good. But over the last 5 games, 22nd in opponent paint accuracy. So this tells me that Memphis should be able to get downhill. They should be able to attack the paint. when I'm looking at Memphis, they do like to get out and push. We know that they are one of the faster paced teams over the last 5 games. They are 3rd in pace, 9th in transition frequency, only 28th in points scored via the transition bucket though. So they haven't really been able to score. That could be problematic because Minnesota's not the greatest transition defense. Last 5 games, they're actually 22nd in limiting their opponents, and on the full season, same thing. So teams are able to get out and run against them. I'm looking at Memphis. I think that's pretty much it for Memphis on the Memphis side of things. Timberwolves have been playing a lot better as of late, though. You got to give them a little bit credit. They just still kind of Jekyll and Hyde type team, though. I was reading up on them this morning. They've won 3 in a row. Before winning 3 in a row, they had lost 3 in a row. Before losing that 3 in a row, they had won 3 in a row. Before winning those 3, they had lost 3. So 3-game losing streak, 3-game winning streak, 3-game losing streak, now on a 3-game winning streak. You have no idea what you're gonna get from the Timberwolves on that daily basis. So Memphis, only 1 day of rest here. They did lose to the Houston Rockets on Thursday. We kind of talked about that already. This starts a road trip of at least 4 games for them. They've been like I said, a bit mediocre as of late, 5-5 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games. Kind of remind me a little bit of Chicago Bulls. That was a spot for the Bulls yesterday. And then on the other side, you got Minnesota. First game back home after the short 2-game road trip. They have won, like I said, 3 in a row and covered all 3. They beat the Orlando Magic, beat the Pelicans, and then at home they had beat the Clippers before that road trip. This is a 5th game at 8-night spot, even though they do have 1 day's rest. Anthony Edwards is going absolutely crazy, so couldn't talk anybody off, potentially wanting to back him. And I'm watching the Memphis Grizzlies game the other day, and for whatever reason, Memphis did not have a solution in that game for what they were going to do against Sengun. Sengun had 32 points and 14 rebounds with 5 assists in that game. Shot 12 for 20 from the floor. Was just killing them, man. Like, I'm thinking about the Memphis Grizzlies as a much better defensive rated team, and that's not something that we saw in that game. So I'm kind of interested to see how they bounce back. This is a game where I kind of just really want to watch. I could see it kind of going both ways. If we flip this really quickly, if we flip this and looked at Minnesota versus Memphis, offense versus defense, Minnesota offense kind of middle of the pack there, 15th in scoring. They also turned the ball over a lot, 4th in turnover rate over the last 5 games, as far as 4th worst turnover rate in the last 5 games. In Memphis, like I said, defensively, they haven't been that great. A 19th in opponent effective field goal percentage, 19th in points allowed per 100 possessions. And Minnesota, I mean, if they're going to shoot the 3-point shot really well, like they have been doing, they definitely going to have a chance to win this game. Minnesota been killing, specifically Anthony Edwards. It's been like since Chris Finch, made that roster change and put Dante DiVincenzo in at the starting lineup. They are the number 1 3-point shooting team over the last 5 games, 42%. That's problematic if you like Memphis, because Memphis is the 2nd worst 3-point defense, allowing teams to shoot 42.2% over their last 5 games, 29th in the NBA are their 3-point defense. So I don't know, man. Memphis on the full season, their 3-point defense is a lot better. They're actually 3rd best 3-point defense, but last 5 games, like I said, they've been giving it up. So seeing some regression from the Memphis Grizzlies here. We know that they typically play better on the road than they do at home. So I don't know. I think this is a game that I'm probably just going to watch. I don't really want to have any action down on this one. I'll probably just watch this one. Minnesota also pushing. Like they're scoring the 5th most points in transition last 5 games, and Memphis giving it up. 25th in opponent transition frequency and 21st in opponent points scored via the transition bucket. So let's see what you guys are thinking. Man, it's a tough one. It's really tough for me. I think I'm gonna chill on this one. Justin says he'll take the Grizz plus the 2, put it in his pocket. New name here, High Roller Consulting says he got the Timberwolves plus 1.5. I don't think that was ever even available unless you altered that. They never were 1.5-point dogs. Wolves on the money line for Ray and over his 3s. I couldn't talk anybody. Ant been killing, man. He's been absolutely killing. Merrill says he likes Desmond Bane over his 16.5 points. Been a cash cow. Randall rebounds and assists. Ant 4+ 3s for Taylor. says Grizz allowed the 27th most three-point attempts and giving up the 26th most threes to the above the break three, and scores 50% of his threes from 50% of his points from the above the break three versus teams 20th or worse in three-point attempts allowed, and is over in 9 of his last 10, averaging 4.9. So Ant up and over his assists. Up and over his threes, over 3.5 threes. Anthony Edwards makes a ton of sense here. I just talked about the Grizzlies defense, being really, really poor as of late. Reed up and over his points been a cash cow, Merrill says. Randall over his 4.5 assists. I know he's been crushing that number. Wolves money line paired it with Ant to hit over his 3-pointers. Jared Jackson Jr. to get 26 points plus rebounds been a cash cow, Merrill says. Yeah, Jared Jackson Jr. actually leads the team in scoring. He's been really consistent. Jared Jackson Jr. has, but we know he can get in foul trouble on the road for sure. Julio says Minnesota are pass. Ja Morant over his rebounds and assists for Merrill as well. Jacob says Mike cash out and sit on the sideline here, and that's you don't have to bet every game, man. I really thought the Knicks had a chance yesterday. I was wrong. I'm not really in a rush to go back to fade the Thunder anyway, ever. Sometimes it's cool to sit on the sideline, especially with the way today's going in the NBA, man. It's tough. It's tough to bet this product. Goldtooth says, Chris, where do I get the gear you're wearing? Definitely want to represent. Appreciate that, bro. You could just shoot me an email. I used to have a store, but I took it down. But you can shoot me an email. I got hoodies, I got t-shirts, I got caps. So just shoot me an email at ChrisBeCappinn 2 P's 2 N's, or reach out on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Same handle, and we can chat it up. Dave says, Chris, let's kick the crap out of the books today. Make money every single day. Energy single play. Okay. What else y'all saying about this one? I'm on Memphis +2 versus House of Disappointment, Mark says. Okay. Appreciate you, Keith. Ked, I think is how you pronounce that. TJ says he appreciates the work that I put in. Stop by every day to show some love. I appreciate this, TJ, for sure. Leaning over, possible overtime in the Memphis game. Tariq says, what up, Fahrenheit? Appreciate you as always, bro, for tapping in. Erica says she likes Ant over his points prop. Grizzlies turn the ball over. Yeah, both teams, though, PZ actually turning the ball over a lot. Shout out to my guy, Mark, man. Shout out to my guy, Mark. All right, I think we did a pretty good job. Sounds like a little bit of Memphis love, a little bit of Minnesota love, and that's the way I see it too, man. Memphis is not going to keep losing games over and over again. I can see them bouncing back. Minnesota, I like to fade Minnesota a little bit more on the road than I do at home, especially with just needing them to win the game. Like, I can see Minnesota pulling this one off. All right, let's get over to the last game that we got on the board real quick. Let me just double check something with the Timberwolves. Timberwolves as a home favorite are Timberwolves is a home favorite 10-6 straight up, so they have won 62.5% of their games, but they're only 4-12 against the spread. So money line play makes a lot of sense. They've actually failed to cover 4 straight. We actually won with the Clippers the other day. The last time they were a home favorite, they didn't cover against the Spurs, didn't cover against the Warriors, didn't cover against the Knicks. But like I said, they have won 10 of their 6 games as a home favorite this season. Real quick, if we look at the Grizzlies just as a road dog, the Grizzlies are 2-7 straight up as a road dog, 4-5 against the numbers, 7-2 to the over. So they typically don't play as much defense. 124.67 points is what the Grizzlies are allowing on the road as a dog. Warriors went up and over their team total. Kings went up and over their team total. They did hold the Suns 10 points under their team total. The Thunder went up and over their team total. So it's been a little bit more overs for the Grizzlies as dogs, and they have not been profitable. 2-7 straight up. That makes me look a little bit more towards Memphis in this spot. Memphis is, boy, they Jekyll and Hyde. And they're coming off 3 straight wins. I kind of feel like if we just look at Memphis, the Timberwolves, let's see if they've won 3 straight games in a row, what they do in the next one. Timberwolves are 1-3 straight up, 1-3 against the spread if they're on a 3-game winning streak this season. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get here at all in this game. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's good enough on that game. I'll be watching this one. Probably won't play any player props either. Last game on the board. Won't be here long. Don't like this one too much. I do agree with the money coming in on Portland though. I will say that. Line open at 4. It's come down to 3.5. It's still some 4s out there. Total open to 18.5. Went down to 217. Back up to 219.5 now. So injury report here real quick. We got Josh Richardson, who hasn't played in quite a while. He is listed as questionable with a heel injury. We got Jimmy Butler, of course, still out, serving the suspension. On the Portland side, DeAndre Ayton is listed as questionable with a calf injury. And Jeremy Grant continues to be out for them. He's missed like 5 or 6 games in this spot. So Miami has won back-to-back games and covered back-to-back in the head-to-head matchup against the Portland Trailblazers. They've actually beaten Portland 7 of the last 10 meetings. So for whatever reason, they've been playing some really good basketball against Portland. Miami not in a good spot here though, and this is one of the reasons why I kind of thought Portland had a chance in this game. Not sure if I'll play it, but for Miami, this is the 4th game of a 6-game road trip. They're 2-1. Straight up 1-2 against the spread on this road trip. They did not cover against the Utah Jazz by half a point in that last game. It feels like Miami's doing just enough to kind of win these games. This is the 5th game in 8 nights for the Miami Heat as well. Also a 7th game in 11 nights. So them in the Portland Trail in the Toronto Raptors. I'm sorry. So the Miami Heat and the Detroit Pistons are both playing 7th game in 11 nights. You typically don't want to lay a lot of points with teams that are this is a major fatigue spot, and that's why I kind of like under as well. I said it already, but the unders are hitting about 56% so far this season when teams are playing their 7th game in 11 nights. And this is another team for the Miami Heat that's been kind of Jekyll and Hyde as far as ATS goes. They're 5-5 against the spread in their last 10 games. Never mind. Rockets and Hawks just got postponed due to severe weather and icy conditions in the Atlanta area. So no game today. I'm just seeing that pop up on my iPad. We capped that game for no reason. We might not even have basketball today. So we started with 7 games. Now we're down to 4. This Houston and Atlanta game is canceled now. Okay. All right. So getting back to this one, like I said, not a great spot for Miami. 7th game in 11 nights. And like I said, the Miami Heat are only 5-5 against the spread in their last 10 games. This feels like a game that Portland could keep close. Portland also coming off 1 day's rest. First game back home after a 5-game road trip. You don't really like taking teams in that spot. They did go 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games in their road trip. This is a 5th game in 8 nights for them as well. You don't really like that as much. They were playing on a back-to-back after beating the Portland Trailblazers. After beating the Pelicans, then they went to Dallas. They were winning the game the whole entire game. Last 5 minutes, I don't even think they scored but 2 points. And they end up losing the game. Still end up covering, but now it's a super short number, which is one of the reasons why I'm going to stay on the sideline in this game. I kind of want to get there. I think if you are looking to fade Miami, you typically want to do it early. We've seen Portland, with their just the way that they've been playing recently and them being at home, typically they can be like pretty fast starters. They jumped out on Portland. I keep calling them Portland. They jumped out on the Pelicans. They jumped out on Dallas the other day as well. And we just saw Miami lose the first quarter by 7 points to the Utah Jazz in a revenge spot the other day. So all of that kind of makes me think Portland could keep this game close early, but it's a super small number. I think I'd just be looking towards Portland early in this game. I don't want to lay points with Miami on the road though. Like it feels like a game they barely squeak out and eke out, but the Portland Trailblazers offense could potentially run out of gas again, especially with it being first game back home. Just not laying points with the Miami Heat on a 7 game and 11 night spot though. And I think that's the reason why the line has come down. So those are my thoughts on the game. Didn't cap it from a player prop perspective. Let's see what you guys are thinking here. And I got to get ready to get up off of here. Let's see. Ravens by 13, Julio says today. I should have did an NFL show. I actually love, I'm super excited for playoff basketball. Let's see. Wolves are nothing for Key. Memphis first quarter up and over 28.5 for Hot TV Grits. What up, Dirt? Appreciate you for tapping in, bro. Douglas says maybe playing both sides of the halftime full time feels like this one could go either way. Douglas says, I agree with that, Douglas. I do agree with that. Let's see. LJ says Memphis first quarter on the road is usually a good spot for them. Okay. Blazers money line. Okay. Appreciate you chasing the bag. Appreciate you for sure, bro. Daniel says, what up, Chris? We appreciate you. Appreciate you, Daniel. Appreciate you. Manny says the same thing. I appreciate you guys, man. Taylor says he likes Ayton up and over his 9.5 rebounds. He'd allowed a ninth. Oh, I like this look from Taylor. We just talked about Walker Kessler the other day. So Ayton, if he plays, if Ayton doesn't play, they're down to just what? Clingan. And I think Robert Williams is probably going to play. I would go in and kind of look at the minutes between the two. Ayton over his 9.5 rebounds makes a ton of sense to me. This makes a ton of sense. I like this look without even reading the rest of it. We just talked about this with Walker Kessler. His rebounds were set at 10.5. Christian talked about it in the chat. Walker Kessler had 15 rebounds in that game. He says they're allowing the 27th most rebounds and the second most to the center position. Ayton versus teams that rank 17th or worse in rebounds allowed. He's up and over in 9 of his 12 games, averaging 11.5 rebounds. In 10 of his 15 games, centers have covered their rebound prop versus the Miami Heat, averaging 1.5 more. I like this a lot. So you just need Ayton to play, and if he doesn't play, you get a really good line with Clingan. In my opinion, like I said, I got to go back and see what the projected minutes are and what's been kind of going on. How Coach Chauncey Billups been kind of using Clingan and Robert Williams now that both of those guys are healthy. But I like this look a lot from Taylor here. Kamara up and over his 10.5 points. Been going over in his last 5 games. Hot TV Grid says I like Tamari Kamara. He's a hard-nosed defender. I like him a lot. I like his game a lot. Plays hard. Now it says I really like the Trailblazers plus 3.5. They've been playing well. I've been waiting for at least 5. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like I think this is a clear Portland spot though. Like when you got Portland is 13-24 on the full season. Why are they only getting 3.5 points at the crib? Why they only get? Shouldn't they be getting more? Yeah, I think the books know. It does feel like a Portland spot. Only looking towards Portland in this game. And I know the Trailblazers have been trash, but they've been putting it together as of late a little bit more. The Heat as a road favorite this season are 2-6 against the spread. They're winning by 3 points, which is right where this number is. The Heat started the season off 2-0 against the spread as a favorite. They failed to cover 6 straight. 6 straight. Didn't cover against the Pistons. Didn't cover against the Hornets. Didn't cover against the Raptors. Didn't cover against the Pistons. Didn't cover against the Hawks, and didn't cover against the Jazz in the last game either. They've actually lost 3 of their last 4 games as a road favorite. They lost to the Raptors outright, lost to the Pistons outright, lost to the Hawks outright, and beat the Jazz by 5, laying 5.5. So, yeah, I know the Trailblazers are not great, but that's the way that I'll be looking as well. Let's see. Yep, Houston game got canceled. Oh, I got to change that if it says 9. It's my fault. I uploaded the wrong one. Dropping down says Atlanta gets 1 inch of snow and the city goes crazy. They probably got a dusting down there, man. I got a homeboy that live right outside of Alpharetta. I'm going to call him when I get done with the show and see how much snow they got last night. Let's see. T-Money says ChrisBeCappinn. Just sharing information. If you don't like it, you can leave, my brother. All you got to do is click the X. Let's see. Drop a dime says Ayton double-double. Built out is plus 130 over on Bet365. Miami is barely better than Portland. What up, Andrew? Appreciate you for tapping in. All right. Yeah, we done a great job here. Justin says, great show, Chris. Appreciate you, Justin. All right. That is going to be it for today. A couple things that we talked out. I had Trae Young assist. The game's canceled now. So I can erase that. But what else we talked about in the games that we actually do have on the board for today? We got let's see. Utah Phoenix. I think Utah early, not enough to play it though. Like Utah early makes the most sense to me, especially with the way Phoenix has owned this team. Like Utah, I could see them coming out. Like I said, I think they're 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 games, in the last 10 first quarters. And then Phoenix is only 3-6-1 against the number. So Utah first quarter, whatever that number is, I'll just put ATS. They're probably getting like 2.5, 3.5 points in the first quarter. Real quick, I'll give you guys the number. Let me just look it up. That would be the way that I would play that one. Didn't play it though. First quarter spread is you can get a +4.5 if you got Hard Rock. Hard Rock limits me, so I can't put no more than about $10 on it. But you can get a first quarter +4.5 with Hard Rock, +4.5 on ESPN bet as well. I think that's a lot of points to be laying with the Suns in the first quarter. All right, so there, Bradley Beal up and over his 16.5 points would also be my other recommendation. Been killing it coming off the bench for that team. Next game we have is the Toronto-Detroit game. Only looking towards Toronto, not laying points with Detroit as a home favorite. Toronto plus, you can get a 5, I think, right now. Dog's been covering too. Minnesota and Memphis, no play for me in that game. And then this Miami and Portland game, it's only Portland plus the 4 for me if I'm playing it. I like the dogs today, man. Roof. The dogs barking today. And then I really do like the look a lot with Aiden up and over that Taylor just mentioned in the chat. DeAndre Aiden. Over his 9.5 boards in this game. If he plays, he is listed as questionable with a calf injury, but it's just more a fade of Miami giving up a bunch of rebounds to the center position. If Portland can guard the 3-point line, which we know Miami wants to shoot a ton of threes, they definitely got a chance to win this game, man. I absolutely think they got a chance to win this game. So these would be the top looks for myself. I actually might just take the day off if I'm being honest, though. Like, I'm just sharing looks with you guys, allowing a space for other people to share their looks as well. But I haven't played anything, as you guys can see. If you want access to the plays that I do make, though, the link for that is in the description of the video. Like I said, coming off of 1-1 night. I got a push and a loss yesterday. So lost a little bit of money, a half a unit on the under in the Philly and Pelicans game. But outside of that, it hasn't been too bad. It's been kind of back and forth all week for myself. But yeah, resources I use to handicap the games are here. People are interested in checking them out. There's a link in the description of the video for all of these that'll save you some money. If not, get you a free trial like Outlier, 7-day free trial, link in the description of the video. Enjoy your Saturday, man. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back tomorrow. Best of luck on your NFL action. A lot of people got NFL tickets open. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. I'm out.